Welcome back. Today we're going to explore an exciting true story from our reading. It has suspense, unexpected challenges, and surprising twists along the way. It's a story about friendship, quick thinking, and how a situation that seems like a complete disaster can turn out very differently than anyone expected. Before we begin, imagine this situation. What if there was clear video footage of an event, but when people watched it, they somehow missed the person they were looking for? It sounds impossible, but the story we're about to explore includes a surprising moment that seems almost unbelievable. It's a reminder that real-life events can sometimes be just as surprising as the stories we read in books. Our story begins with two best friends, Trevor and Teddy. They were very close and did almost everything together. From the moment they met, they became partners in fun and trouble, always sticking by each other's side. Trevor really captured their connection in a simple way. He described Teddy as funny, charming, and someone he instantly got along with. Their friendship clicked right away. It was built on shared energy, excitement, and a love of adventure. On their own, each of them was a bit of a challenge for their families. But when they were together, they were even more energetic and always getting into trouble. They loved walking around their neighborhood, and those walks were never boring. They were always looking for something fun and a little bit mischievous to do along the way. A lot of their adventures took them to the local mall. One evening, after all the shops had closed and the place was quiet, they noticed an opportunity that felt too exciting to ignore. It was one of those moments where they thought something interesting was about to happen. They noticed a stationery shop that was closed and secured with a metal gate you could see through. Inside, close to the front, was a rack of chocolates. For them, it looked like something tempting and exciting, especially because it felt like something they weren't supposed to have. In that moment, it seemed like a very tempting opportunity. This became their weekend routine. For over a month, they repeated the same pattern, waiting until the shop closed, acting casual, taking what they wanted, and leaving. At first, it felt exciting and harmless to them, and they grew more confident over time. But eventually, they started taking bigger risks and pushing their luck further than they should have. Then, one Saturday night, everything went wrong. In an instant, their carefully planned routine fell apart. What had felt easy and controlled suddenly turned into a situation they could no longer manage. The moment they got caught felt like something from a movie. Trevor had just grabbed the chocolates when he suddenly made eye contact with a security guard. The guard immediately noticed what was happening and shouted for them to stop. In an instant, everything turned into a chase through the mall. They immediately ran. It felt like security guards were coming at them from every direction inside the mall. Trevor was scared, but at the same time, he felt a rush of adrenaline. Since he knew the area well, he also knew different paths and shortcuts nearby. Even though he was afraid of getting caught, the situation also felt intense and exciting in a strange way. This is where Trevor's habit of always paying attention to his surroundings helped him. Over time, he had become very familiar with the buildings and streets around him and noticed different ways to get in and out of places. In that moment, he remembered a small path near a dead-end road with a gap in a fence that was just large enough to squeeze through. In that critical moment, Trevor called out for Teddy to follow him toward a nearby shortcut, but Teddy didn't feel sure about it and ran in a different direction instead. The friends split up, and the security guards also separated to follow them. Trevor managed to slip through a small gap in a fence and made it out of the situation, eventually heading home afterward. Trevor got home with his heart still racing. At first, he felt relieved to be safe, but that relief quickly turned into worry. He kept waiting for Teddy to show up, but as more time passed, he began to feel more and more anxious. Teddy was gone. An hour passed, and there was still no sign of him. Trevor ran to his house to check, but he wasn't there. The next day at school, he looked again, but Teddy was still missing. As time went on, Trevor's worry grew stronger, and he began to realize that something was seriously wrong. Then came a knock on the door that Trevor never wanted to hear. Teddy's parents were there, and they brought upsetting news Teddy had been arrested. Trevor's mom immediately became suspicious and worried that Trevor might have been involved. However, Teddy's parents quickly made it clear that Trevor was not responsible and had nothing to do with what happened. Trevor was shocked to learn that Teddy had not mentioned him at all. Instead, Teddy gave a different story, which meant Trevor wasn't linked to what had happened. Because of this, Trevor had a strong alibi and was able to tell his mom that he wasn't involved. For a moment, he felt relieved, thinking he was no longer in trouble. But the situation wasn't over yet. The next day at school, Trevor heard his name called over the loudspeaker, asking him to go to the principal's office. Everyone around him understood what that usually meant, and Trevor immediately felt nervous, realizing he was likely in serious trouble. He walked into the principal's office and immediately felt the tension in the room. Several authority figures were there, including the principal, mall security staff, police officers, and even his teacher. Everyone looked serious, and it was clear that this was a very important situation. Trevor quickly realized that the consequences of what had happened were much more serious than he expected. Trevor tried to act like he didn't know anything about what had happened. But then the principal told him they had video footage of the incident. Hearing this, Trevor immediately felt a wave of fear and panic. He realized there was clear evidence, and he became very worried about what might happen next. That one word really captured how he felt. The principal played the security footage, and a grainy black and white video appeared on the screen. Trevor had to sit there and watch everything that had happened unfold in front of him. It was clear evidence of what they had done, and there was no way to deny it. The principal paused the video on a clear image of the two boys and asked Trevor a question that changed everything. He looked at him and asked if he knew of any white students that Teddy spent time with. In that moment, the situation suddenly shifted in a way Trevor never expected, and everything took a surprising turn. What actually happened was a technical mistake with the old security camera footage. Teddy had a darker complexion, while Trevor had lighter skin. Because the camera was low quality and black and white, it didn't capture both of them clearly at the same time. Trevor's face appeared washed out and unclear, which led to confusion about who was in the video. As a result, the authorities were looking for someone they thought was different from the person sitting right in front of them. What happened next was hard to believe. For several minutes, they questioned Trevor again and again, naming different students and asking if he knew them. Each time, he said no. Trevor sat there, feeling completely overwhelmed, repeating his answers while the confusion in the room continued. In the end, Trevor was allowed to leave. The punishment he had been expecting never came. He avoided serious consequences partly because of his friend's loyalty and partly because of a mistake in how the situation was understood on camera. It also leaves an important question to think about. How often do people misunderstand a situation because of their assumptions, even when the truth is right in front of them? Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you in the next episode.
If you'd like more personalized feedback, writing support, and discussion sessions, they're available with me or with our selected tutors. All the details are here.